of your interest. So that's your main objective. Now, before you can think of a system, what you should understand is that you should understand what is going to be the audience of this particular, who are going to be using this project. What is the benefit of this particular project that I'm trying to develop? What is it going to add to the community where they are going to use it? In what period of time am I going to be finishing up this project? And what budget is available, or what resources are available to have the project accomplished as it should be planned within my setup. So that's what you're calling a project. So a project normally has a number of people who are going to be working within that project, and one of them is normally what we call the project manager. And this project manager is the person who is going to be overseeing all the activities, who is going to be guiding the flow and the allocation of resources within your project. So this person normally is the one responsible for recruiting other members, because one of the roles of a person in term as a project manager is to recruit the staff that are going to use the system, and also to ensure that there is proper scheduling and within the project. And then there are roles or management activities that will be carried out by the project team. We're going to look at those. Understand. Software development is a little bit unique from the other projects that you may think about that you might do in our normalized. There are some distinctions that make it different from all the other projects that you normally have. Who can tell us some of those uniqueness that you feel that are involved in a software project that are not within other projects? The uniqueness you feel that is with what you call a software project that is not part of what we normally have as our other normal projects. One of the, it is what we mean by this, that as you know, when you are looking at software development, it's not like when someone is putting up a house, or someone is constructing a road, or something is creating a garden. You'll be able to see how things are progressing. The other time they were in the foundation, now we are seeing the roofing, now we are seeing this, and so that's the physical. You can actually see and monitor the progress. But in this particular case of the software project, it is actually intangible. You never see things, but you only have to see a working software. So this makes it very challenging to a person who may be managing such a project, because you won't be able to show your stakeholders that this is how far we have gone. How far you have gone is to let them see how it is functioning, which will be on your computer at that time, which is not on their computers. So that makes it very challenging. Then the other point is that this kind of development is a little bit unique and flexible. It is flexible, or by flexible, mean that you could make use of various, it can be done in various ways, and you can work from any point. You don't have to be static in a particular area for your particular development. That's what makes it to be flexible in its management. You can even manage the software online and you try to just monitor the progress by looking at the codes that are being developed by the other stakeholders. Then the other point is that software development does not have a specific standard you must follow all the time when you're developing your software. There's no standardization. Corners and the roof should look like this. There's no standardization. What is normally very important is that to have a working and functional system. The way you develop it, reach that point, and know the kind of coding you make now is be upon you, so long as there's a functioning information system that is put. That's what, so that there's no standardization that is going to be required in the development of or the management of these particular projects. And then the other one is that normally software projects are going to be a one-off kind of development that you did at once, and once things change, you may have to come up with something else, because once technology changes and your system can no longer fit there, that means you won't be able to use the same system. So it now becomes a one-off, and you have to change depending on the new systems that are coming up in progress. So that's what normally makes software development a little bit challenging and not easy to manage. Now, let's define what to call project management. How would you define project management now? What we defined was the project, but we haven't defined what to call project, because we are discussing project management. So how would you define project management? You define this one by saying that project management is a collection of related, is a carefully, let me repeat, project management is a carefully planned and organized effort to accomplish specific one-time objective within a specified budget. It is a carefully planned and organized effort to accomplish a specific objective within a specified period of time and with a set budget. That would be one of the definition you can give for project management as an acceptable information system within a specified period of time. Within a specified period of time. So that also could be a definition. And this is so more or less on our technological part that we are looking at it as a world developing system that is going to be acceptable by the stakeholders within a minimum cost, within a specified period of what? A system that is finished at a minimum cost possible. So when you put in your proposal, every person look at what is your proposal reading, what time am I going to be spending in managing this software, developing this software, and what's the cost that is going to be involved. So that will determine whether they can give you the project or they don't give you the project. Then my other question, that in most cases these projects don't come abruptly. In how many scenarios would you be able to come up with a project? Because there are a number of scenarios that you would be able to generate a project. Because at times it could be that you yourself may be searching for that project, but what would lead you into that searching for that particular project? So let's look at, there are three approaches that you can use where we can get projects, especially IT-related projects. The first approach would be, if you can see what is happening now in most of the government institutions, they want to transform each and every operation they are carrying out in what we call a computerized form. So it can be directive from any person of authority, and they can direct that we want this and this to happen within the operations. And in that case, the implementers must transform that into a project, an outsource manageable company. So it could be a directive from the higher authority. That would be one of the what is required. Then the second approach would be, it could be a problem that is at hand somewhere, either within your company or from somewhere, then if you want to take up that particular issue. So if it's a problem, the solution that is going to solve the problem could be a project that you undertake to solve that particular problem you have within your organization. So that could be another way that you'll be able to generate. Like most times, all projects come out like problem solving projects. as we develop the project, as the character projects, to consider what impact is it going to be having to the society where you're going to put it. Because that maybe they had a problem somewhere which the project can actually solve. So that would be, if there's a problem, could still generate the project. Then the other one would be it if it is an opportunity. So opportunity would be in a way that within that institution, you don't see any challenges in their way they are carrying out, they are operating. But you, the outside, you may cite the challenge and you take it as an opportunity to them. So you tell them how beneficial what you do for them. You tell them how it is going to be solving all the problems they have in their society. How so in that case, where you're taking that opportunity that is happening somewhere, project, and you somewhat. So those are possible ways that you would be able to use in order to come up with projects, which project could be able to solve some of those issues within organization. Let's now try to look at some of the managerial roles or management activities when you're carrying out. What are some of the main activities that you'll be carrying out as a management team? Because I said you're going to be having a person called the project manager who is overseeing each and everything within your project, but then he has other members. So now you all turn out to be the management The management. So as a management team in your project, what are some of the activities you are going to be carrying out? Anybody who can give me some of those
please type in the chat everything you are talking about. Just activating and getting transcript.
One of the activities you can write your proposal writing. Of course, the proposal writing is where you're going to be specifying why the project is useful, how it is going to be. So you cite, you mention all those issues that you should that are going to be very important in carrying out this project. What are going to be the benefits? How is it going to be improving the company and blah blah blah. Because you are asking or you're requesting to be given that opportunity. Because before the project is put in place, you must have a proposal that is seconding or that supporting the need for that particular project, whether it is through a directive or the problem, you must have a proposal that is going to be supporting that particular project need. Then the other management activity you're going to be doing is what we call project planning and scheduling, and we shall note that planning in a project is going to be one of the longest things you're going to be doing all the time without the execution of your project. You're going to be planning, and at every point you do the planning to suit the kind of situation that you're facing. Then the scheduling is coming in, that you're trying to remember. We said time is one of the factors. Maybe to tell you a little bit that the three things that determine the successful project or that determine the quality of the good project is going to be the quality of the project that you involve, whether it is meeting the standard of what you want to involve, whether it is involved within the set budget, and whether it is finished within the set period of time. So that's why there's scheduling here that's going to be part of your management team to ensure that each and every activity is given appropriate time that can be good enough to finish that activity and not to prolong the project entirely. Then there's also costing, because there's another determinant. How much, because every activity that you are carrying out in the project, you must attach a cost, which cost should be within the budget that you had set. Then you also have what you call selection and supervision, and how you're going to be putting within your project. Evaluate them and supervise the operations within the project. So that's now going to be a role of the management the management team within the project. Then there's also what you call monitoring and reviewing. A way of monitoring where you have to go
zote zina disk zine SSD.
When you're coming up with a project plan proposal, how would you put it? So you can point of the project percentage and review how the thing is moving and come up with necessary other plans that would ensure that you can meet your intended goal. And then the last part would be report writing and presenting. You must have a reporting mechanism you're going to be using, and how are you going to be making presentation to the stakeholders to understand what is going on within what you are doing in the codes. So you must be able to write out your progress and present to the stakeholders so they can understand how the project is moving and whether there's value for money in the process of developing that particular software. So those are some of the main issues that you must have, we must carry out as a project team. And maybe to put some light about the planning, scheduling, controlling, and adjustment. These are some of other keys that you are going to be doing within your project. Because in a project, you'll be doing planning, you'll do scheduling, you'll be doing controlling, and then you'll be doing what you call adjustment. So the planning, that's when you're going to be determining, because these are main activities that are going to be carried out. The planning part is where you're going to determine the value without your project. And as you identify these project activities, you must also understand, you do what you call the breakdown of these activities. Because it's not to manage a product, it becomes harder for you to manage this broad activity. So now normally we have what we call the breakdown structure, whereby you break down this activity in smaller portions that you can easily manage and even be able to attach respective schedules that you are going to be doing in the next stage. But the first thing that you do in the planning stage, you're planning for the activities, and then also you do what we call sequencing of these activities. In the sequencing, you have to note which activity is going to be coming first, which is going to be coming next, and what is the ratio between the two activities. So that's also would be required to be done in that stage of planning, because that's the key activity in your project management. Once that activity is not properly done or project or planning, you will not be able to have proper operation for the other areas that you want to be doing within your project. Then after that, we've got the second activity is scheduling, whereby here you are going to be determining that is required for each and every activity to be accomplished. And that time that you attach every activity must be in line with the total project time that you had allocated. If you say that your project is going to be taking 3 months, as you allocate these respective times, you ensure that you don't be proper. If you have done the breakdown earlier in the first stage of planning, it will give you proper time allocation to each and every activity. Then also the costing comes in as you do the scheduling and the planning. You should also plan for how much is required, and then you attach respective cost to each and every activity. We have another activity which is controlling. Controlling, you're trying to monitor and see how is your project moving on. Is it moving on as we planned, or there are some issues that we need to rectify? So that's what you do in the control. You control the progress of your project by checking out whether all your plans are as they were planned earlier in your project. And in case there are some issues that you feel that don't, okay, then you go there to adjustment. With adjustment, you are trying to check corrective measures to see how you now overcome those unrealistic plans that you had set that you are not meant by that time. Because you would say maybe by this month you would have covered all this. Then if you have to find out what was the problem, then you can adjust out how best can we now reach our intended goal by doing what you call adjustments within your project operation. So those are some of the few issues that activity that you may do. These are main ones, but there are others that you could do in between as you carry the operation of your project. And of course, what is going to be determining the successfulness of your project, that's when it's going to be delivered on time, within the budget, with a specific objective which is attained, and then also having a direct relationship with your area where you are delivering that particular project. So basically, those are issues that I wanted to let you understand. And the minor part I want to discuss, I want to look at what you call how would you come up within the project the project plan. Of course, what do you think should be in the project plan? But before I can go to the project plan, let me talk about planning, because planning being that is a key activity in our project, we have got a number of plans that you can have within your project plan. The quality plan is going to be describing or look at the kind of the quality of the product that you're going to be doing. What standard? So you should clearly define the standard of the project you want to achieve at the end of your project. And so when you're developing a system now, that would be now the benchmark you're going to be using. If the system developed does not meet what you had set as the quality within your plan, what you call the quality plan, then you are at the liberty to reject that particular project. So within your quality plan, you must specify what standard do you want. If it's a software program that they are developing, of what quality, of what standard, what should be met within that particular system. Then once that is clearly spelled out, the developer must follow what you have agreed upon within the quality the quality plan. Then you also have what we call the validation plan. With the validation plan, your intention is to see that you validate all the approaches, all the resources, and all the schedules that are going to be used, whether they are actually rightful schedules, rightful resources, or whether the approaches that are going to be used in developing the software are all in line with what you want to develop, and they can let you meet your intended goal. So you must have that validation plan where you have to specify all those issues within your plan. Then you have another which you call maintenance plan. With maintenance plan, if you can recall what I told you when you're discussing the life cycle, I told that the longest stage in software development, because you do it throughout the usage of that particular system in your organization. Meaning that the moment you stop maintaining, that means your software will stop being used. So even in your planning as a project, you're going to be doing the maintenance even after that period, and what are going to be our areas of concern every time you're doing maintenance. So you must have a plan which you call maintenance plan. And then the other will be staff development plan. With staff development plan, your intention is going to be, we are trying to look at our staffs may not be knowledgeable enough in developing software, but is there a plan to let them get more equipped with more skills on how they can develop software? So maybe in the future, you may even use your own staff than actually. You should have a plan of developing your staff members in line with those areas that you want to get within your campus. So those are some of the plans that you must have within your project plan that you are trying to make in order to come up with the best plans that you want to within your project of your software management. So those are plans. So let me also look at the project plan. Be looking like, those are plans that you can have, and every plan could have a number of these issues that could be put depending on what is required. But in general, your project plan or project proposal plan should have these areas. And yes, I'm seeing someone's hand. Juliet, is it Juliet?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm begging your pardon on the staff plan.
Staff management, staff development. It is called the staff development plan. With staff development plan is that you must have a plan on how you're going to be developing the skills of the members who are working in that particular project. Because as you know, you may have got an outsourced team that is managing your entire development, but you must also have a plan on how are you going to develop it. So make sure that they are part of the development, that they can improve on their skills. So that's what you call staff development. That you may say that let's put there 2 of them, they gain some skills, then afterwards they will let them be taken for further maybe studies to add on more on the skills that they know. So that's what you call staff development plan that you should put in place in your planning. Hope it is somehow clear, Juliet, now. Okay. I was and structure or proposal plan structure.
Yes, it is.
Alright. Yes. What are you going to be? How are you going to be writing this proposal project plan? How is it going to look like? So because the same plan or the same proposal with other members who are also reading the same what? The same project you're going to be doing. So how the way you structure, the way you mention, the way you sell your idea to the other members is the way that will let you be able to be given that project. So in the the project plan structure, the first part within your plan or within your proposal will be the introduction. In the introduction, you're going to introduce your project to the other party, explain why it is required, how good it is, or what benefits are they going to be generating out of this one, how is it going to be uplifting their either company or society and so on. So in others, you are trying to tell them the background of the project and how it is beneficial and how it is going to be helping them out in improving maybe on their performance. So that should be in your introduction. And once the introduction is actually catching, then someone will be saying, okay, maybe this one understands. Because remember I told you, you could either get a project through the elective, that's when they will be having an idea. If it was just a problem at hand, they may not be knowing how to solve the problem. So you are telling them how to solve the problem. So tell them that's in the introduction. If maybe it was another project, they didn't know even that thing was possible, you must sell that thing to them so they can be able to take up the idea and then they give you the chance. So that's what you have to do in the project, rather than that introduction part. After the introduction, you're going to come out and explain to these members the organization of your project. How is it going to be organized? In the organization, you're going to tell them in terms of how is it going to be structured from start up to the end, which activities are going to be involved in that particular project, how are they going to be carried out, in what period of time are they going to be carried out. So all those are going to be done in the project organization. What are those respective resources that you need, especially in terms of the cost and so on. So that's going to be done in that project organization. Is it okay? And then you also tell them what you know my term as milestones, and also tell them also what you may term as deliverables. What you are calling a deliverable, for example, deliverables are going to be already finished projects, rather parts of the projects that you intend deliver to the client or the customer. Because in most cases, you may not have to wait deliver the entire project at once. You may have to deliver some of the finished parts. Let them see how you are progressing in your project. So you must indicate to them what are the possible deliverables and how many are you going to be having before you have the final what? The final project. So that should be in your active rather than your project organization, whereby you must have that proper organization of the system and how it is going to be delivered. Now, a milestone will be kind of a checkpoint or an end point in your project progress, extension of some take an example, or you may assume that point should be accomplished. So you could set a milestone that it should be done at this very point. So a milestone will be a checkpoint where you are trying to check how you are progressing within your project and whether you are within time and able to accomplish all the set activities within that set period of time. So you must specify all those possible deliverables and milestones that you're going to be having within your project, and those are going to be within your organization, so that you'll be able to do them in time and as required. The next area that you should put emphasis on is going to be the work breakdown. Under the work breakdown, work breakdown is going to come later, but let me first look at before I go to the work breakdown. The next thing you are going to look at will be risk analysis. Under risk analysis, here we are looking at a scenario that you must tell the team or the stakeholder that within the project you are going to be doing, we may have some challenge because the risk is going to be like a challenge. We are going to be having some of the challenges, and these challenges are going to be overcome in this way. Because you cannot plan that you won't have any challenges as you progress in doing your project, but you must tell them the possible risks, and then how you're going to be overcoming those risks within your project. So, like in software development, we have challenges that are going to be related to, for example, if your requirements change, that's a challenge. If maybe the money is low, you don't have enough budget, that could be a challenge. If maybe you lose one of your competent staff, that would be a challenge. So how are you going to be overcoming some of those issues? Because you're not very sure who is going to be available throughout. And for example, we elected our speaker and we are very sure that the speaker will be there until the 5 years end. Now the man that was maybe the competent person they wanted. So how do you overcome that? In case that you have a replacement that can. So you spin out
yajang nanda angwaine milioni 1.2 tubona
this kind of
tubone elisa
this I am going to
1.2 tubone elisa
so I can be able to progress within my project. So
Yeah,
that's
so you get
another
the
thing that you need to have within the system project rather than your structure of the plan. The next part, we are going to discuss more about risks. There are various categories of risks, and then there are various ways of overcoming managing those risks. So you must clearly understand that bit in your project. We have also hardware and software resources as one of the other area to consider the structure of that plan. You must clearly software cannot dwell with software and the hardware as one of the resources. What resources in terms of hardware, in terms of software that you need to help you develop the software, and also to maybe to be able to be available before you can start using the software. Because every software works under its own hardware requirements and under its own software requirements. So you must clearly specify them so they can check whether you're going to procure new ones or they can use the existing resources. Now, in the second stage, you talked about project organization, where you tell them what are the various activities, how they can be done, only that. Now, we have another part within your proposal that you clearly specify what you call the work breakdown. Where you're going to show how each of those activities that you talked about in the organization of the project, how are they going to be broken down into smaller activities, so that you'll be able to understand how much time is required for each and how much money is required for each and every activity. Now, so you must specify the breakdown by breaking down your activities into the smallest possible activities, and then finally you come up with what you call project schedules, whereby you attach on each and every activity respective schedules that you need to attach on each and every activity. So in most cases, you may have a separate area where you talk about the financial plan, but of course now that will come by in relation to the work breakdown and the project schedule that you could have said. Then you could come up with what called a financial plan, whereby now you start telling us that we need. If you tell us that you need 10 million, how are you going to be spending the 10 million on which activities and how much? So that one now, that's when you do what you call financial plan, which you could now attach later. But within this other proposal, you could have a work breakdown, then a project scheduling, then you can have the costing, which could be now also embedded as another area to consider within your proposal that you may be raising. And then the final part would be the monitoring and reporting mechanisms. Remember, we talked about one of the activities we will be doing. We talked about scheduling, planning, and so on. Now, with monitoring and reporting, you must tell the team that this is how I'm going to be monitoring the progress of our report. At the point, and I'll be checking all these every time I'm trying to make the monitor. Then I'll be reporting the kind of means, and I'll be putting this particular audience, and I'll be doing it this number of times. That's what you have to specify in the monitoring and reporting mechanism. You must specify all those issues in relation to how you're going to be monitoring the progress of your project, and in what form are you going to be doing these reports, to which audience, and how frequent are you going to be doing the monitoring and reporting to the stakeholders. So now those are the issues that you must consider as you're writing out what you call the project plan or project proposal that can lead you into acquiring that particular project that you may want to get. So that's the proposal. Now talk about risks. These risks, before I can talk about your activities as you move them within the project.
Actually, what to simplify? Do you have his first paper? You gaps. And the first paper that you guys in HP. Baguma Moses is now the host. Mushiga ba host. Kasongo host alimu. Paper. Going to know the city so. Can I show you much of what is? But it doesn't go with you.
So I was saying that some of the problem that we can have could be project, which could affect the entire project. We can also have what you call product risk. And this will look at the quality of the what you have got, the performance of the system you have got. If it is not meeting it will be a product risk because it's not meeting your intended what? Your intended performance or quality. Then you can also have what you call business risk. The risk in the how is the company how is it going to be procuring that particular software that you want to procure, and in what format is it going to be procured? What procedures are they going to be following? Now, if there are some challenges in that, then that would be, because remember we say that when a company is getting a system, first of all you must understand how is it going to be meeting your objectives as a company. Is it in line with what you want to do as a company? If you buy what is not going to be used in your company or what cannot add value, then that is taken as a business what? As a business risk. And actually, we have a number of risks that you can think about, and now they are classified. For example, if you have a staff turnover, that risk is going to be affecting the entire project, so you can term it as a project risk. If you have maybe changing in management, if management changes, it is a project risk which is affecting the entire project. To take an example, if a new government comes now in Uganda, it may have its own plans that you want to push forward, which are not similar to what the NRM has been pushing. So all the plans that were put there by NRM may fail because the new management does not think in line with what those people were trying to do. So changing in management normally affects the entire project, and normally leads to failure of some of those projects. If requirements change, is going to be affecting both the project and then the product, because once requirements change, the project will solve beyond the standards, because the product is related to the project is related to the product you want to deliver. So once there are changes in requirements, it could be both affecting the project and as well as the product. And there are many other kinds, so I was just citing a few of them and now we'll talk about. But when you're looking at these risks, all of them, you must also consider the effects they have and how the occurrence, how many times can it occur, and then also you may look at how dangerous is it in your project, what impact is it going to bring, will it affect the system entirely, or it could be handled, and then you can go through you have some remedy for that for that particular risk. So you that's what you have to do in that kind of scenario. So we go to how do you now manage this? So when you're managing these risks, these are the steps you're going to go through when you're managing what you call risks in your project. Option number one, or step number one, you have what you call risk identification. Remember, you must identify those respective risks that you have in your project, and then understand: is it product? Is it product? Is it business? So that's what you have to do in identification, that you must be able to identify those possible risks within your project as they occur, and then categorize them where they fall. So after now doing that, in the second stage is what we call risk analysis. In this case, you are going to analyze the impact, the consequences that this particular risk is going to be having onto your project. That's what I talked about. You must now consider how many times can it occur, what you call the occurrence, what impact is it going to give, or what consequences is it going to give to our system or to our development. It could be a minimal or moderate or severe effect, and it may be occurring once or frequently. So you should now analyze all those issues clearly. After identifying them from the other case, then you analyze each and everything by looking at its occurrence and the effect it is going to impact, it's going to give to the entire development. And after doing that, then you go to what you call risk planning. In risk planning now, you're going to come up with possible measures that you can put up to let you overcome those respective risks. And in the process of risk planning or coming up with those possible measures, we normally use three approaches in managing these risks. The first approach is going to be, you try to use what you call minimization approach. You minimize the impact this risk is going to be giving or putting to your entire system. That's the minimization approach. Then the second approach would be avoidance. You completely try to avoid the occurrence of such a risk within your project. If maybe the issue was staff turnover, requirements change, you can say that let me define all the requirements clearly in my requirements definitions, then you don't have such issues of changing the requirements. If the issue may be changing lots of funds for the project, let's first of all allocate resources and let them be available so you don't get any disturbance. So that's now will be the avoidance in your planning. And then the last risk planning will be, you put up what you call a contingency plan. This contingency plan is going to be what is going to be keeping on monitoring the risks and then iron them out as they come. So you have a plan that is continuously being used to curb the risks as they come within your projects. Then finally, the stage is what we call the risk monitoring. Risk monitoring, now you are going to monitor the remedies you try to put up, avoidance, contingents, and so on. Are they effective? If they're effective, what alternative can I use so I can iron out all these these risks from my project? So those are the 4 stages that you can undertake if you are to get out from these issues called risks in your organization. So after now, you'll be able to get out of these risks, then you'll be able to have a better system that you can have. So that's what I wanted to tell you relating to risks. Now the other part that I want to discuss is to do with the various tools that you could use as you do the controlling of your project progress. of your project, how would you do the sequencing and how is it done? There are some tools that you can use in doing that particular aspects. You could either use what you call a Gantt chart, or you could use what you call an interactive diagram. These are very serious tools that you could apply in controlling the progress and monitor the way your system is moving, because they guide you in showing you the linkage of these various activities, and they can help you determine some of the issues that you want to determine within your progress of the project. So we are going to be discussing that one. But now for those very parts, we are going to have I would request that you have a physical, because there are a few things I may have to show you physically so you can see properly. We organize some physical classes for that particular part. I don't know, when are you supposed to be meeting, and let's agree on the time physical and we meet, and I discuss that bit of using the bar charts, and then if you can have 2 hours, I can finish up that bit so I can fully understand how you could use those tools. After path critical activities, how do you time the completion date of the project? We get to know what, if you after breaking them down the activities, how do you sequence these activities using what you call the task dependencies, and what's the definition of each? What does it imply when you specify a dependence of such nature on your activity? So that one I want to discuss it physically with you, with an example, and then we see how we can move on in that particular area. And then I'm sure you were given you started some practical part already with Godfrey, and I'm sure you've moved somehow far. So we shall have also some more physical classes for some of the classes. For some of the beginning classes, we can have them through the Zoom, but again, the specific areas where we need some touching, and we may have to get some physical classes. So we had agreed that you get us some free slots within your timetable, which we could give you, and we'll give you at least some physical classes within the week. But for this one, organize for me also a physical class where I could do that for you. So when are we actually from your leaders to let me know? Good for told me you started with some few practical basics. So those basics you could do them through the Zoom. Now we're going to have a physical class. Have you had any practical session? Anybody who can answer that? No, I have not had one. No, doctor, I have not had one. Abanange nyesiga n'oyo eyitiridde obunene naawe newankubadde erinno naye eyitiridde obunene. Okay. No problem. What I want to do now is this. First of all, organize for me a physical class where I can meet you in class and I discuss this bit, which is remaining in this part. Are we there? And then we begin on to the practicals as fast as possible. What is the possible time? This is for day and then for evening. I know you can't be there at the same time. I can separate you day separate, then the evening separate. So when are we going to be having a class? Let's discuss it now so I can plan. Yes? When is it it going to happen?
Doctor, is it going to be for practical or theory? The theory part, because I think we need more of the theory, because otherwise we might not able to. I said that on the model that you told.
You even know them.
Actually, what we are going to do is this. There is a certain part of the theory that I want to cover up that is remaining before you can go for the practical. That's the time I'm requesting first to finish up this remaining part of the practical. Then I can go on.
Okay, Doctor, you had promised to upload for us some practical bits on the Mwele account, part of the notes. So please request Dr. help and upload so that we can be doing some practices maybe sometime.
So my request, I wanted some time to meet you physically, and we have at least a certain class physically before I can go that online. What six?
Come in.
How many are you? Can you put one class or how many are you in total?
Doctor, we have very many.
Of course, someone is saying that for both groups. Can you hear it? Can you all be in one class here? Yeah, so 4 to 6 is for day or for evening?
Accident.
10 to 12 is for what now? Okay, day class, do you have that time on your time and the room is allocated for you 10 to midday on communicate because now I want to know. On Thursday, I have a class. With the commerce class from 9 to 11. I don't know how many they are day classes. Maybe your day classes. There's all of you can day class 9 to 11. It's possible for you. I mean the day class.
No.
So I want you to those things and I can meet you and finish up those bits and the background. Something else.
There's a party upstairs, but I think we're not going to see.
They did call you.
Yes,
They did call you. You don't see.
So you are saying that on your time. Mukulu tusasire
nundi jomwana rumwana wa Liverpool FC atirombera gwa Liverpool.
Okay, members, now you are saying that on Thursday on what time? I don't know which group you said that it is on your timetable. Which class is that? Juliet, which class?
P6.
And what time?
BCom. From 10, we are the Kama students.
You can have it with the Kama student at 10.
We are the Kama students. We are the Kama students.
The category Juliet was the this class was for BBA. Wajifulukinze zembo z'aba BBA ate kati kuwa kama sipoddamu. My intention was on the BBA class first. Are you Kamas? You are BBA.
Kamas, I'm BBA.
Because this class was for BBA.
Yani meeting uganda.
And for the Kamas class, your class is 9 to 11, not 10. For BBA, that's what I want to hear from the BBA class.
Kutoka kunyunuka. Ninga no mnanasi. Kutoka kunyo. Hapa yawe file. Tigalimu mpaka waza ina galimu. Kagura pako yanje moka. Gasoko kwa hanselecture pinka jikosa huko. Square, ana square kanyine zibera bya square ko wanjye mu Amendigana square ni yawe. Ngakabana nkaza pinka jiha yuga kajiba herisia. Papa rero. Ono kwesa chingwe. Ayi anito. Ingorama. Kato mundu mukasafiri yakani. Amwe kama tantire kushabana nko. Begerase ya baridi ya Jasmine. Amwe kama tantire kushaba azo. Shuchi, sharo bitakizira